Welcome to another CEO Wisdom Pod. We have Adrian Moise with us today. He's the founder and CEO at Equilibrium. They're hiring. He's a PhD in computer science and Harvard and Wharton exec education. Guy's quite interesting, always been in tech and various experiences I want to discuss about. He's in Vancouver and I am in Oaxaca, Mexico. This podcast is brought to you by podbar.com. That is my podcasting company. If you need leads, authority, connections, knowledge, you can go to podbar.com. We help you start a podcast, mostly with AI and automation. We have a free ebook and a masterclass for you. Adrian, welcome to the podcast. Tell me a bit more about yourself and what you're up to nowadays.
Brilliant. Well, Charles, first, thank you for having me here. I also want to say that I'm impressed. I researched you also and your success as founder so many times, Ironman, bodybuilder, and so on. I see a lot of the stuff that I'm also passionate about, so I'm looking forward to our conversation. I also have this passion about what I call a perfect balance. And then if you think about strategy and execution, brain and brawn, I am among one of the sports that I'm passionate about. One is Formula One, and the season is about to start. And I'm mentioning this because I feel like this winning package for an F1 team is to bring together strategy, experience, and technology. And that's similar to what we at Equilibrium are doing. We are a technology professional services organization who does both digital transformation and innovation. And we bring together similar for our customers, looking into how to use technology and digital to differentiate, innovate, be more resilient, and grow. I've been in technology for over 25 years right now, working on multiple countries and continents. And I'm happy to share my journey to see if other entrepreneurs can benefit from it.
Right, I see a lot of gaming sector in your LinkedIn here. So EA, Microsoft, UBI, some Nintendo here. What brought you to launch your own consultancy firm in 2012 and ultimately Equilibrium?
It's a great question. So I'm a gamer at heart. I started as a lead game developer working for a company called Ubisoft. Ubisoft is like the Electronic Arts for Europe. And I had the opportunity to work on some really fun games, from Rayman to FIFA to soccer games. But we also work on things that are called edutainment. So what that means is, for example, we are digitizing some fables, Aesop fables, to stimulate, to help children to learn. Or I developed a game for Mac in which we are teaching people how to play the guitar by plugging in the guitar into the computer so you can get that personalized advice. I know you're passionate about AI, and right now a lot about AI potential is about personalization. Well, we are building this tailored solution for people that bridge the gap between this immersive solution, gaming, but also gaming is not just for sports or fun and entertainment. It can be also a good way to actually learn new skills in a fun way, right? So as opposed to you'd have to study or work, what if you can achieve ways to enrich yourself in a fun environment? And I was through this process of building these immersive experiences, again, started over 25 years ago. When I joined Electronic Arts as a developer and director, I helped build the mobile gaming division. So devices like Nintendo DS and PlayStation Port were just coming out. So Electronic Arts, the biggest producer of gaming and entertainment on the big screen TVs, now they had this challenge. Hey, what does mobile even mean? Would it have a potential? How do we create some experiences to move from the big screen TV to the small devices? What does that mean? So we started with 3 senior managers. In 6 months, we had 120 people. I was leading the front-end experience for 6 titles, about $1 million each. And then what was interesting is that it was a huge transition from big screen TVs to figuring out what does mobile mean. And then we obviously saw with devices like the iPhone, the revolution that everything, all the domains actually changed with mobile. I feel right now we're a similar juncture point because it's not just AI, but I'm particularly passionate, as you can see from my background, about virtual reality and augmented reality and mixed reality, which oftentimes are all collected under the umbrella of XR. And similarly, especially with Apple introducing the Apple Vision Pro, they are basically advocating that the changes the spatial computing and the industrial metaverse can bring could be an even bigger impact than the iPhone was. So, a lot of exciting things to talk about.
Yes, and I see on Equilibrium's website three main verticals, sort of. So banking, immersive learning, and digital twins and mobile app. Banking, I would guess it's highly profitable for your agents for sure. Digital twins, can you tell me a bit more about these? It seems that there's a bunch of tools doing that. For example, Synthesia that I use, and I think it's HeyGen that I use for my video as well. What's the potential of having your own digital twin that can join calls, join podcasts, and mimic your real self?
I love the question. And you were asking also earlier, like the connection from gaming. So, as you know, many of these games that we play today on different console, PC, Xbox, Nintendo, and so on, are created using mainly two core game engine. One is Unity and one is Unreal. Well, guess what? Unity right now has a big business in which, well, who else is using 3D worlds? Well, virtual reality. So we are actually a Unity partner, and they have this focus on their business model. In addition to supporting the traditional gamers, that was how the company started, to actually looking into building this type of VR experiences for education and training, but also for things such as digital twins. As you mentioned, I'm from Vancouver. Vancouver International Airport has a digital twin. So the CIO of the Vancouver International Airport has this digital dashboard that can see a digitized version of what's happening in real time in the airport. So, for example, her dashboard can give her an alert to say, look, there is this plane who is basically stuck on the tarmac because, let's say, the gates are not ready. Or, for example, she can do what if scenario simulations to think about, okay, what's the busiest time of the week? Oh, let's say it's Friday afternoon at 4 o'clock when I have a big flight coming in from Frankfurt, another one from China, and another one from Mexico. Okay, what happen if one of the runway would be unavailable? What if we have a storm? And then create these simulations to figure out, okay, how do we prepare for a situation like that? How we are using digital twins. One project we done was this company called Tableau. As you know, they focus on business intelligence. And then we are trying to solve the following aspect. It wasn't about marketing propaganda. Oh, look at us, we're using headsets, but we're looking to see how do we actually create business value. So in particular, we are looking into what's the task of one of these data scientists. They have these spreadsheets, lots of informations and so on, and they're trying to make sense. They're almost like a detective. What is this data trying to tell us? How do we go from rows and rows and data to what are the insights? How do we distill this to something that's actionable? So we took an example to resolve two problems. One, recognizing these data scientists are like lone wolf. They this is my project, it's my niche, I'm going to do this all by myself, and I may be working from Seattle, this other colleague is in Toronto, and we don't really collaborate and so on. So we said, like, well, collaboration is good, having a second pair of eyes is good. How can we enable this collaboration using Microsoft HoloLenses? And then we look into what would the project be about. Well, we're looking in real estate. So you own this building and you have all these informations about electricity consumptions, and now you have these CO2 targets that you need to meet, and what's happening with the ventilation, what's happening when the sun moves around the building and one part of the building is hot, another one is not, and so on. So, okay, you have all this data that these data scientists are looking to sort through and figure out and provide or recommendation for how to optimize electricity, how to reduce CO2 consumption, and so on. So we created a digital twin of the building. So all this data and all these sensors, now you can see them in real time on a digital version of the building that we created, that using the Microsoft HoloLenses, people from different offices can review and collaborate in real time on that. Hey, what happens if we turn the light off? What happens if we fast forward the time and right now is not the morning, is 2 o'clock in the afternoon and it's very hot. And this side of the building requires a lot of air conditioning, while this other side, which is in shade, it's actually quite cold. How do we balance the needs for both buildings? So this is an example in which we used with this company the concept of a digital twin to augment the work that the data scientists were doing, and also to enable remote collaboration between them.
Right. And tell me about the company itself. Like, what type of clients are you going after? How do you outreach? What are your growth systems in place?
So as you mentioned, one part of our business is focused on financial services. So that means both credit unions and banks, but also fintechs. So we work in a number of industries, including retail, government, technology, gaming and entertainment. We still have clients like Pokemon, like Nintendo, and so on. So, but focusing on financial services, one of the reasons we chose to stay and focus in this space is because when we look at the research, consistently in Canada, United States, and worldwide, the number one stressors in people's life is money. So we're looking into, okay, how can we partner with progressive financial institutions who want to move from transactional relations with their customers, enable them to send money from A to B, to instead focus on financial wellness? How do we create the right balance between human and digital? And then when COVID hit, as you probably know, bank offices and branches, like many other institutions, shut down. So the only way for you to actually interact with your bank, to pay your bills, to send your kids to school, to cash your checks, but also any government grants that were helping you to go through those difficult, was all digital. So in many instances, this COVID had the implication that some organizations who were kind of looking at digital, maybe there'll be something to focus on. It became that if you don't digitize in quickly, you will not survive because you cannot interact with your customers otherwise. So we saw, especially in the last few years, an increased focus on financial institutions to digitize their products and services. But the other thing that's happening, when you're looking into on your phone, this bar is set high because right now companies like Apple, like Google, like Amazon provide services that traditionally were associated with financial services. So if the fact was like, oh, my banking application sucks, is ugly, and has bad, user experience, it used to be like, yeah, but everybody else is the same. Well, not anymore. And especially you see like in Europe, these neobanks, company who start as, I'm a technology company at core, and I happen to focus on financial service, they actually can create beautiful, immersive experiences. So we are helping these financial institutions to move from, I'm an IT shop, I have the traditional brick and mortar approach, to actually digital organizations. So that's one of our focus for us, to work in financial services, to partner with banks who are looking to become from IT shop to digital company, and they're looking to modernize their online experiences. So it's not just interaction with members via branches, but also an omni-channel experience on the phone, on the website, on virtual devices, through texting, and so on.
Right. And okay, tell me the business itself. Like, you have employees, you have a bunch of cool clients. What are the plans that you have this year? What will be your focus?
So Our objectives for this year are threefold: diversify, innovate, and grow. So diversification for us means to diversify the customer base and the type of services that we're offering. So we're working with large customers. Some of these customers may have 500,000 members, that are banking with that organization, may have $10 billion in assets. We work with organizations that have more 1 million members. So for us to create an experience online for web or mobile, it's solving real life problems for millions of people. So what we call our big, heady, audacious goal, or BHAG, is to basically is under the formula of 3, 2, 1. We're going to be the dominant player in 3 different industries. We're going to grow the organization to 200 people, and we are going to positively impact 100 million members, users, with the work that we're doing. So that focuses on diversification as one of the goals for us. Innovation is to look at new technologies such as virtual reality and artificial intelligence to build immersive and personalized experiences for learning, education, and collaboration. And growing is about growing the relationship with the existing customers and helping them on their ongoing journey for digital transformation.
And how do you gamify business? How do you gamify your productivity and what you achieve?
So there are things that we're doing internally. For example, we have these initiatives to discuss these technologies such as virtual reality. How can we drink our own champagne? So for example, during COVID, when everybody had to move to remote work to save lives, we look into, well, everybody was using agile development, or it was the popular method, but the agile development was written under the book that these agile teams are all working in person and they all focus on one particular project. But now nobody was working in person, everybody was remote, and now we're having people working from all over the world and in different time zones. So it's also asynchronous. So we look into, well, how do we move from this in-person interaction, which is what the agile philosophy was promoting, to this type of Zoom interactions that Bill Gates is calling Hollywood Squares? Not quite the same way for building report, for building culture. So we said, like, okay, what if we create like in-person experiences using virtual reality? So we have people to feel like they can belong. They are part of the war room, part of these teams and projects. They are doing these agile ceremonies that feels very fun and personal, and that factor of gamification that you're mentioning. So we built our own product called Agile VR that basically wraps up this agile ceremony in a fun and immersive and personalized experiences using virtual reality.
How does AI and mix with VR feels and sounds like? Because I sold my Oculus some time ago, and I haven't checked out or I haven't felt any of these experiences. How does it feel like?
So one experience I remember when I got my first experience on the Oculus 3, I opened it up out of the box, and then, like in a movie, it starts to scan my room, right? And then it's like, oh, I detected the chair, this is the bed, this is the window, and so on. And then this game experience comes across, okay, so I have some aliens that are coming and then breaking through my windows, and then they slide down on my stairs. It's like, how do you know that this is kind of exactly customizing that game experiences to my own room? So that was my first exposure to what is called mixed reality experience. So basically, you create experiences in 3D. That's what virtual reality means. But I'm actually looking into what is the life environment that you are in right now, and how can I tailor an experience specifically for you? So let me give you another example that I really enjoy. I mentioned that I'm a Formula One fan. So I had the privilege to go and see many of these races live. And my consistent experience has been that it's very crowded and it is very hot to the tracks that I've been to. So obviously, a lot of us are watching these Formula One races on our own TV in the living room. What if we can combine this experience to feel more immersed? Because I can tell you, while it's hot and it's expensive and it's crowded, the art experience to be there with hundreds of thousands of people and hearing the roar of those Formula One engine and then the team cheering, you cannot reproduce that. Well, so what if we are to bring the best of both worlds? You are in the comfort of your home and having a snack and being cool and having a beer there, but you also see, like, in the middle of the living room, a 3D replica of the track and where the various cars are, and then getting like on the track type of experience while seeing, still following the race on the TV screen. And you know what's fun, Charles? You can actually customize the angle from where you watch the race. So there are, as you probably know, each car has probably like 5 cameras. So you can watch the race. Okay, I'm a big fan of Alonso. I want to watch it from his, from his car, or if Charles Leclerc and watching from the Ferrari. So I can choose to watch the show that is being transmitted live, or I can see a personalized experience that really is important to me. So what we did to bring virtual reality and artificial intelligence together, I'm going to give you 2 examples. One, we work with Credit Union on a project in which we help to create immersive and personalized training for their staff. So what that means is, think about a few ways to do traditional training. One is somebody creates some videos online. They never heard about you and me. Here's a standard video. Everybody watches the same videos, and people kind of have to take these online classes. Sometimes it's boring. People leave the video playing, go grab a coffee, come back, and then do some test at the end, and that's it. I went through training. A more personalized training is to do classroom training. But when you do so, you have to travel, you have to synchronize with the other students in there and so on. And then the other people were saying, hey, sometime when I do these type of one-on-one sessions, imagine you and I, you teach me about, hey, what's working in how do you reach out to people effectively? How do you get the customers? Okay, so one, we have to be available at the same time. But sometimes when you ask me to practice, I may feel intimidated, or I might feel like, oh my God, it took me 3 attempts. This other person got it from the beginning. I'm not good enough, and so on. So I always feel the pressure. So we created this environment in which, one, you're asking about digital twin. We created a replica of the office. So first, when they got into VR, they feel like, oh my God, this is like at home. I recognize that, and that's that person's desk and the chairs and the logos, everything, including the lighting, looks like I'm in my office at work. Okay, great. But then they also had this persona, these archetypes of individuals that represent, these are the type of customers we have. This is called the wealthy non-switcher. This is called, the tech twins and so on. So each credit unions, each financial institutions have these ways, typically from the marketing team, to define these are the type of individuals so they can model their needs and their behaviors. So we took those inputs and then we created these characters that you interact with to mimic the characteristics, the behavior that these personas expecting. So the look and feel of this individual, the tone and voice, the type of accent they're using, were replicating this persona that the marketing team have provided. So AI was fitting in 2 ways. One, we are fitting to the specific training needs of that credit union, as opposed to creating a video that have nothing to do with who you are as institutions or as a user. 2, we recognize we all learn at different speeds. So we will adjust, so the AI adjusts the training specifically to what resonates with you. Sometimes it's faster. Oh, I'm bored, I can pick it up. Or the opposite. I need more help with that particular subject. And 3, in these one-on-one interactions, anytime you want to interact with that, one, you feel no pressure. I know this is not real, so even if I don't get it right, I don't have to feel like really stressed out that this person is going to judge me. I can do it anytime I want, as opposed to whenever this person is available. And then these people, the voice, the behaviors, the environments are personalized to that particular institution. So in brief, we use VR and AI to create both immersive and personalized training that can save time, money, and cost.
I love that. Yeah, it's pretty clear. I think I'm gonna buy a new Oculus this year. Adrian, where can people find out more about you?
I'm reachable on LinkedIn. I'm pretty active on this. It's a great channel to basically meet with people. Also on our website, equilibrium.com. And obviously we are on the other social media channels.
There you go. Adrian, thank you so much. That was Adrian Moise from Equilibrium.